Om Jananim Sharadam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhur Muhur. Namaste everyone, very good morning, and we are delighted to be here. Really, it feels like Sharda Mat here because you see, it's one center where Mother is at the center. So we felt very much at home here. And Mataji concluded rather early, so I have a little more time. We'll go on for 25 minutes. We'll just discuss some of the practical aspects of spiritual sadhana, and then we'll have an interaction for another 25 minutes. We'll conclude the program at 12:25 because we have to go somewhere. So let's dwell for some time on the practical aspects of spiritual sadhana. This is presuming all of us are doing a lot of sadhana. Because unless we are doing it, how would this topic be relevant? So we are going to discuss some of the practical aspects. See, let me ask you a question just to bring this topic into deep focus. Do you find awareness in your body, or do you find your body in your awareness? Think and tell me. No hurry. In your awareness, you find your body, isn't it? And we identify with that body through a thought process. It's not the vice versa. You are always going to find your body in your awareness, which means your awareness is the primary aspect of you. Right? Your awareness is the primary aspect of you. Your body, mind, all that comes next. But we are not used to thinking like this. See, this is the whole problem. We are used to thinking, I am the body. In that body, somehow, somewhere, there's an Atman. So let's correct our ways of thinking. You see, this is the most practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. To understand existential reality as it is. It's not a concoction or a way of thinking. It is the truth of my existence. I am fundamentally aware. In that awareness, I find a body. I identify with it as my body through a thought process. And consequently, I identify with the world of objects. Right? This is a fact of your own experience right now. Now, when we come to practical aspect of spiritual sadhana, we should understand that my concept of myself as pure awareness is the most practical thing then in my life. At least it should be. That I am the Atman. This is not a theory. This is not some Vedantic conclusion. This is your existential experience at any point of time. You are only fundamentally self-aware. That you are Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so and you are doing this and that, and all that comes much later. Fundamentally, we are self-aware beings. In this awareness, you are identifying with a body-mind complex and with a world of objects as a result of that identification. When this is the state of affairs, the most important thing is to know I, the awareness, occupy this system. Yes, I am in a sense localized in this system. So I become an individual being and I am functioning through this unit. So then how do I handle my mind, my thought, my emotion, my will, and this body in order to keep this knowledge in the forefront so as to remain deeply aware of my true being? This is the practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. How do I handle my thought? Usually, the thought is handling us. Am I right? We are not handling the thought process. Some memory, some worry is handling us. Some compulsive thinking is just leading us away and leading to a whole lot of unproductive worries, fears, emotions, anxieties, and leading us away from anything called awareness, So when this is the problem, I must keep my awareness of my being in the forefront and be able to handle my thought process very effectively. Like it's like a tool in my hands. You know, when you handle your thought like this in full awareness, it becomes something very powerful. It will make things happen for you. This is when we can become leaders in our own right, standing on our own feet. Not that people have to prop us up to become leaders. You become a leader when you become an impactful person. When you are handling your mind like an instrument in your hands. So this is only possible when awareness has come to the forefront and thought is in check. Otherwise, the thought can lead us to really many places. So, first most important thing in spiritual life is the capacity to handle thought consciously. And I can give you a whole lot of, facts about your thought process, which are universal. Not that I'm especially like that or you are especially like that. It applies to everyone. Your thought is so powerful. What you repeatedly think about yourself, you will become that. Is this true? If you repeatedly think about yourself as being something, oh, I'm a good person, or I'm not so good, I'm confident, I'm not confident, I'm fearful, or I'm just happy. Whatever you think about yourself will become your experience after some time. Check this out and see. It's happening every day. If you start the day with, oh, today is a great day. What a beautiful day. I'm going to do this today. You'll do it. If you start with, oh, yesterday was such a horrible day. I hope today it's not repeated. That will be your experience. Brooding, anxiety will be your experience. So your thought mechanism is something which makes things happen. Please see. So the first law of thought is what you repeatedly think, you are going to become. And what you repeatedly feel, emote, you are going to experience in some measure. True? Is this true? This is not just the law of attraction. There is a very scientific basis to this. What you repeatedly think, you will become. What you repeatedly feel, you are going to experience. And what you repeatedly imagine, you are going to create. You are in the Silicon Valley. Everything started with human imagination here, isn't it? And what have we not achieved as a result of that? The WhatsApp you're using every day was somebody's thought, somebody's imagination at some point of time. It became reality. This simple chair you're sitting on, it was a thought in somebody's mind, an imagination. It became reality. Your thoughts become the reality of tomorrow's world. So what you imagine repeatedly will become you'll create it. It'll become your reality. So take care of these three things. That's the whole point. Your thought, your feeling, and your imagination. Because what is happening today in your mind will become your reality tomorrow. You'll find it around you. That is why Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the mind is the Kalpataru. He would say God is the Kalpataru. You bring it into yoga psychology, it becomes your own higher mind is the Kalpataru, the wish-fulfilling tree. Whatever you sit under that tree and imagine, it will happen. Your mind is like that. And if I understand these, laws of thought, I will take care of my mind first. It's an essential part of education, which is, of course, absent from our curriculum. Absent from our academic curriculum, because we haven't put the focus on ourselves. We know everything about everything, We know what's happening on Jupiter. We know what's happening on the furthest of planets and quasars and everything. But I don't know what's happening in my mind. I don't know who I am. That's the whole problem. So all of these philosophies, whether you call it yoga or Vedanta, they are putting the focus on yourself first. Some amount of self-knowledge to be able to handle external reality in a very mature way. So how to handle thought, emotion, and imagination is the practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. Otherwise, you can keep worshipping Sri Ramakrishna and have your own silly thought world. which takes you somewhere else, But yes, you're every day doing the morning puja. You may be reading the book for 5 minutes, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. The rest of the day is available for brooding and fears and worries. No, it should not be like that. Being practical about sadhana means throughout the day, you maintain an undercurrent of divinity, divine thought. For that, your thought world must be well controlled, well regulated. That is why I said, pay attention to your thought process. You are always the witness of your thought. You are not your thoughts. See, you only said that I find even the body in my awareness. You said that some time back. Which means your body and mind are objects of your perception. And it's a fact. You can see your thought process. Like you can read a page. You can read your mind like that. So when this is your first person experience, you must check on your thoughts and consciously make them positive, make them productive, make them work for you. This is the practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. If throughout our day we are able to do this, keep ourselves positive, keep ourselves totally, aligned to your goals, it is sadhana. It is spiritual practice. So this is one thing I wanted to focus upon, handling the thought mechanism very well, consciously. You must also know the connection between thought and memory, because that's very important for sadhana. Most of your thoughts are memories. Is this right? Most of your thoughts are the unfolding of a previous conscious thought process. It's a memory. Now, your conscious thought and memory are deeply connected. What you think consciously and repeatedly will become a sanskar, it will become a kind of strong mental impression. And when it goes and settles in the subconscious, you call it memory. So your conscious thought process is generating your memories. After some time, it will again fructify in the conscious mind. Again, it becomes thought. Your memories unfold, as it were. So throughout the day, this is what keeps your mind busy, thinking something, converting it into a subconscious impression, into a memory, and again the unfoldment of that memory into thought. Your mind is busy. So if you take charge of your conscious thought process to a great extent, you will be in charge of your memories tomorrow. You just hold in your mind the beautiful experiences of life. The negativities you are able to let go. You are able to forgive. You are able to bypass the anger and negativity of any situation. You are able to take charge of your entire being. See, this state of mind is very important for sadhana. If you see the lives of these great ones, Mataji just now told us the life of Sri Sharda Devi. Nobody saw her shouting, raising her voice, and trying to control a situation. Nobody saw her doing all that. She was deeply composed, calm within herself. That is when we say a person lives in God. So all illumined beings will show this state of mind. So then the siddha, their siddhi becomes our sadhana. We must manufacture these stable, beautiful states of mind first before we can claim to live a real spiritual life. As long as anger, hatred, resentments, negativities, which all of these, they fund unproductive worries and anxieties in your mind. As long as this is the state of affairs, it is very difficult to research into God consciousness or even self-knowledge. It's very difficult. So this is the primary practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. Deeply composed within oneself and with a very positive frame of mind. Mother used to give this message also. This was her last message. Do not find faults with others. Rather see your own faults. Such a beautiful state of mind that must be. You see, this is the saint's mind, incapable of seeing faults. So these states of mind indicate the unfolding of the highest divine consciousness. Practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. One more thing which I would like to focus upon is the very unproductive way in which we handle our emotions. As if human life is meant to be wasted on all sorts of emotions. Many of us, I told you, the thought and the emotion is controlling us. We are not controlling them. This is the whole problem. Especially when it comes to emotions, unless your emotional life is at a particular level and it is full of divine bhavs, really authentic emotional attitudes, and a level of your vital energy, it is very, very, very difficult to handle the mind, because our emotions are tremendous forces within us, isn't it? The emotion is nothing but a very, very powerful thought, because there is feeling behind it. And when you have feelings, well, it's a formidable force. So unless our emotions are divinized and made consciously positive, it is difficult to handle mind. So divinizing emotion, what does that mean? Turning it towards God. Turning it towards the highest. And through that bhav, you relate with everybody around you also. So in a simple family, you don't have to relate with the person according to the person's nature. No. I relate with God and I see the person as another manifestation of that same divine. So then my bhav is intact no matter how that person is. Isn't this practical way of approaching people? Even in your workplace, no matter how the other person is and what his mind is emanating, you be very balanced within yourself, connect with the God within you, and radiate only the positive bhav manufactured as a result of this sadhana. You'll see the person before you falls for you, is able to connect with you at a deeper level, in a more positive way. So you don't approach a being. That is why Vivekananda used to say, learn to see God in everyone. This is the meaning. This is the meaning. Don't see the person as he or she is, as her mind or his mind is. That may be very undeveloped and it will reduce you to the same state if you connect directly that way. But hold your composure, dive deep within yourself, relate to the God within you, and then superimpose that bhav on the other person, because that is also a manifestation of the same divinity. The same prakriti comes to us in sattvic, rajasic and tamasic forms. So when we know this, we will know how to relate with people, and then you will not judge. There's no point in judging. Isn't it? For our purposes, for the spiritual aspirant, for the sadhak, there's no point in judging, in making judgments and living by them. That's the stupid life. So for the spiritual life, you require such transformative bhavs in your mind. Handling thought maturely, handling our emotions maturely, and bringing our awareness into full fruition. That is so very important. I told you initially, your sense of identity must be with your true being and not with the nonsense happening in your mind. Am I right? Yes? Not with this piece of matter merely. Because, this is changing constantly. So is your identity changing constantly? There's a sense about you which is unchanging. That is the sense of your awareness. Awareness does not change. So learn to identify with that and understand this is the instrument through which we are functioning. Just like the clothes you are wearing. You are not the clothes you are wearing. You're wearing them, so also you're wearing the body and mind. So once this sense comes into us, naturally we will function as really divine beings through a body, functioning through a body-mind complex. So these are the practical aspects of spiritual sadhana. What Vedanta tells us, or Advait Vedanta tells us, is something tremendous, They are actually telling us that this world is only pervaded with God consciousness and you are that. And there's nothing but Brahman. You are mistaking it for the world and living beings with individualities. That's a mistake. See, it's a tremendous conclusion, isn't it? It's a tremendous thing to say that this is all God, manifesting as all these human beings. But if you actually see check it from the standpoint of your own existential awareness. You will see it is a fact. When I connect only with my mind, I will see you as mind. If I think I'm only the body, I will see you only as body. If I see myself as awareness, I will see you as awareness. These are the equations of spiritual life. So, the popular concept of adhyas in Advaita Vedanta is telling us this only. Or the whole problem is your wrong cognition or mistake into thinking that this world of manifestation is real. Reality is only Brahman. This is only the manifestation of that on this physical plane. But you assume this manifestation to be the ultimate. This is the whole problem. So when do you solve this problem of adhyas, superimposition? When you throw more light on the matter, the light of awareness. When there is more awareness, there will be better cognition, clearer perception, enhanced life. So the whole point is to bring awareness into the forefront and take charge of your thought process. This is practical sadhana. If we are doing a lot of puja and japam and all these practices and yet this essential aspect is not there, then our sadhana will be very poor sadhana. And if we are doing a lot of psychology and yet the essential existential awareness has not come into the forefront, still you cannot call it sadhana. Because spiritual life essentially means to live in the real consciousness of God. Look at the picture of Sri Ramakrishna. That picture speaks 1,000 words, more than that. Because it is all the photos of Sri Ramakrishna that we have are pictures of him in samadhi. You don't have one single photo of him outside that state. We have 3 photos of Sri Ramakrishna. And all of them were taken when he was in that state. That was his normal state. He would, with great difficulty, come down from that state in order to, teach us. In fact, he used to say, I come down 100 steps to say Om. Imagine the state of his mind. So this is the spiritual life and living in God consciousness. These lives give us the exact picture of what is the thing and where are we. So if we can take charge, what did we discuss? Of our awareness. First is taking charge, making sure you are more aware than identified with anything. And then taking charge of your thought process, taking charge of our emotions, taking charge of our body mechanism, making sure that our attitudes, our predispositions, our behavior is congenial to the inner life. This is the most practical aspect of spiritual sadhana. I can give you a very beautiful story here and conclude my talk. This is a story from the life of Buddha. How he did not carry his memories and the weight of his anger or fear or anything with him. He never had these negativities, but even if they occurred in everyday interaction, he never carried them with him. It was an empty mind. This story illustrates that. It is said that when the Buddha was enlightened, he was so full of happiness that he was completely fulfilled within himself and would not go out anywhere. He didn't want to go out anywhere. For about 7 days, he stayed under that same tree. And then gradually for begging, for procuring food, he would go out. So once he went into a village, which was close by, and it so happened, by that time, a whole lot of people had come to know that the enlightened one, the Tathagata, lives there under the Bodhi tree. So they were keen to feed him. But he arrived at a particular potter's home, and this potter had not heard of any Tathagata or any enlightened being. So he thought that he's just some ordinary person begging for food. Then he told him, well, you are so able-bodied, go and earn your food. Why do you come and beg? So then the Tathagata left and went to the next house. Then he crossed the lane and he went back to his forest. Now this potter's son He came running after some time and said, "Father, do you know the Tathagata had come here? He passed through our lane. He must have passed by our house." Then the father said, "Oh, really? I didn't know that. Oh, yes, one sadhu did come to our house, but I asked him to go forward. I didn't offer him any food. Oh, what a sin I committed. This was the enlightened one, and I didn't offer him anything." And then he was full of regret. And then tears started streaming from his eyes. So he ran towards the end of the lane to see where he went. Then he didn't find him. Then with tears streaming down his face, he ran into the forest. And then he saw the Buddha sitting there under the Bodhi tree. Then he went and fell at his feet and said, "Oh, my Lord, my Master, my enlightened one, I have heard about you, but I insulted you. I didn't even offer you food. Will you forgive me?" And then the Buddha said, "But when did you insult me?" And the man said, "Why? A few hours back, you came and asked for food, and I didn't offer you food." And the Tathagata said, "Look, my son, that was a few hours back. I don't carry time in my mind. I don't carry yesterday into today and today into tomorrow. I have an empty mind. So I don't even remember what you said or did. So don't worry about it. Whoever has fed me, in a sense, you only have fed me, because I see only one consciousness. So don't worry about it." See, the state of the enlightened mind, this is what I'm pointing towards. It does not carry baggage with it. It is not that stupid. It has learned to shake off these things in order to dwell in pure consciousness. If you carry the weightage of unnecessary, unproductive worries and memories and negativities and resentments and anger, you are not going to come anywhere close to awareness. So the essentials of spiritual life are the purity of mind, the purity of body, and most important, the empty mind. The mind that is free to fill up with God consciousness. The mind that doesn't have an agenda. The mind that doesn't have material goals merely. Because it is wanting the highest consciousness, it is wanting to dwell in that. So these are the practical aspects of spiritual sadhana. And the study of these great minds will help us find our way to that state. Find our way to these states of consciousness. So just dwell on these great lives, and all this will naturally happen in your consciousness. Remember, spiritual life is a completely first-person research, first-person inquiry, first-person sadhana, first-person research. No book or person can do that for you. You will have to do it yourself. But take the inspiration from all this. This is the whole point. I would like to conclude my talk here because we will take up an interaction of about 25 minutes. Thank you very much.
So you are free to ask any questions. Please raise your hand. Namaskar. Thank you for your discourse this morning. The question I had was, you talked about awareness, and you said we should concentrate on staying with awareness. We also talked about the Atman, which is translated as the self. And my guru always talks about meditating on yourself, worship yourself, respect yourself. And when I think about the term self, I'm not really sure what exactly is meant by that. I've been told that the self does not have any attributes, so it's hard to describe. When we talk about the Atman, the self, what exactly are we talking about?
when we talk about the self, what are we talking about? That's the question. So I'll put it back on you. Please see, you can see the mind, the thoughts in your mind, and you can see your body. Who's it who's seeing it?
The witness.
The witness. What's the content of that witness consciousness? Because you can see it. You can see what's happening in your mind. You can see your body. Who's seeing?
See it.
Who's the seer?
It's not the subject, it's the one observing the subject, observing the witness.
Yes, see, you threw light on a deep fact, because in Vedanta we say pure consciousness sheds its radiance on the mind and the mind becomes conscious. So that's when we say the self-aware mind. And that is always like the witness consciousness of all the thoughts in the mind, the vrittis. So you see, just now it's the witness consciousness that is, you can say, witnessing all the happenings in the mind. But your real nature, what we are calling the self, is not even this witness. It is the source of this, the source of your awareness, mental awareness. And that is what is being called the self, the Atman. It is of the nature of pure existence or consciousness. So there's nothing you can compare it with. I can't give you an example, the self is like this.
So how do you meditate on yourself?
The meditation in Vedanta is of the nature of inquiry. You inquire into the source of your perception or cognition and find out the seat of your perception by yourself. But there are objective meditations also, which you will find in a number of our books. There are Vidyas, there are Vedantic meditations, there are yogic meditations. So there are a number of kriyas, processes, through which you can arrive at this. But without the spirit of inquiry, you will not find the self. Because you will not know what exactly you are searching for. If I am searching for who am I, then nothing else is required. Nothing else is required, because, those who actually ask, who am I, and really want to know it, will reach this state spontaneously. But take the aid of some method, kriya, meditation, some process of japam or pujas. Take all these aids. But the essential inquiry of who is it who's having the perception, who is it who's cognizing, should be kept up. This is essentially Vedanta. And you will find your own way. Each one of us have to find our own way. Vivekananda said that? Yes?
Self-inquiry is very
Self-inquiry. Once.
Come to US, I've been following your work in YouTube. So my question to you is, in day-to-day life, how do we manage our emotions? Like, just like Shara did, she was living among a lot of toxic relatives, people who tormented on her and all, but she never got angry. So how can we not get angry at other people and also not get hurt or not get angry?
Mataji, you should answer this, please. Please come.
How to handle our emotions? First of all, we know she has reached something, some point inside, so that she is not disturbed. When you practice spiritual sadhana for some time, you find some steadiness inside, no? that yam labdva chaparam labham manyate nadikam tata, like in Gita we read, attaining which you don't consider any other gain as higher, or yasmin sthito na gurunapi dukkhena na vichalyate. When you have settled in that position, you are not disturbed by any difficulties in life. So by practicing spiritual sadhana, you touch that inner reality within you and you understand that is the ultimate truth, and all other things are passing phases outside external. Whatever is happening in the external world, we give so much importance to that and think that is everything. If somebody's hurt us and we give so much importance, something happened in my life miserable, I go on brooding and spending my whole life. These are all only our for training us. When we think the life is only an evolution from lower to higher level, whatever is happening in my life, it is not very important, but how I react to them is more important. So you take it. It is a test for me. Many tests come in our life, many challenges, but we take it so seriously and we are so easily disturbed. But if we can touch some truth inside by spiritual sadhana and standing at that, face everything in that way, they are all like for evolution of our soul. This life is just like a playground or something we are acting only our roles. So why should we give for every small happening so much importance that it can displace me out of my balance? I should have some balancing point inside to stabilize myself. So that comes by spiritual practice, I feel.
Pranam Mataji, so happy to finally see you. I mean, I always follow your videos. Thank you so much for coming. So I have one question. It's been there for me since a couple of years. I'm a great follower of Samvit. So I have this question, like, what is the difference between the consciousness and the ether? Because as me the experiencer, the mind is a subtle part, so where the thoughts will come and I am the experiencer of the thoughts. So which means I can clearly understand as a individual microcosm. So there's a difference between me and the mind. So as I can clearly understand, is this the same thing with the universe, that consciousness is separate from the ether, or like the subtlest part, or it's the consciousness is evolving to the ether? This is my question. So I mean, it's been there for me so many years. Thank you.
See, when we are trying to correlate consciousness and physical reality, you will have doubts like this. The point that Vedanta is trying to make is every form of reality, physical, mental, it is perceptible only in your consciousness. Outside your consciousness, do you perceive anything? Ether or no ether or atoms or matter or whatever, energy, do you perceive anything outside your consciousness? No. So then consciousness is the primary substratum upon which perception is possible. It is the seat of your perception. So don't equate it with any level of reality. In fact, manifestation stands on the substratum of consciousness. That is why we say everything is the base, or you can say everything is based on God. Why we say all these things? God is the ultimate reality behind everything. We say this only to say this particular fact: outside your consciousness, nothing exists. Is this true? Or no? It is not a conjecture or it's not a logical argument. It is a fact. Outside consciousness. Nothing exists. In your consciousness, you are perceiving anything as that thing. You know, this table here, it is not a table to a person who doesn't have your consciousness. It's a table to you. Because your equipment allows you to see this as a table. Only in your consciousness it is perceptible as a table. For an ant moving there, this is a mountain. No? Isn't it? For a bird flying somewhere there, if this was open, this would have been a speck of something. To your consciousness, it's a table. So anything is that thing only to your consciousness. And outside your awareness, there is no perception. So Vedantically speaking, this is the meaning of everything lives in God. God is the fundamental basis of everything. He is the seat of your perception and your cognition. Brahman is all that there is. Sarvam khalu idam Brahma. Outside your consciousness, there is no perception. Check this out and see. Everything is open to first-person research. Yes, she wanted to ask something.
I just feel so humbled to be in your presence. I just wanted to say that. And this was a follow-up to the previous question that Mataji was answering. And it was, I do understand that it's all God's Leela and He creates and He destroys. But when there are things in society that are unjust, right, like there's rape and there's child trafficking, how can you not get angry and how can you not react? How do you come to terms with that? And if you don't react, how do you change?
Mataji, would you like to answer that? Come, please.
When we are in the ordinary level, I think it is not that we don't resist evil. The resist not evil, that is the highest idea they are telling. But when in a lower level, when we see something is going wrong, not that we just keep quiet. A mother has to correct a child if the child is to improve. A teacher has to correct a student. And the police have to control the thieves. A judge has to give the decision. Here, this is justified, we can say. Even the correction and seeing faults is not like that. But on the other hand, just for searching for faults in other, that is not the way. But when in a lower level, in an ordinary level, when we see injustice and that, it is not that just we keep mum and don't react and keep quiet. That is not the only the highest realized person, one who can see God behind everyone or the Brahman behind everyone. Such a person will not react. It's all God's wish. But if you are a true devotee and accept everything, whatever is happening to you is happening by God's will, then you will accept. That is one thing. Otherwise, if it is in my hands to help anybody, suppose somebody is hungry, oh, it is God's will, I have nothing to do, I will not say. Somebody is suffering, what is there? It is nothing to me, let them suffer. We can't keep quiet. We have to do whatever is in our hands to elevate the pains of others, help others, and to correct the injustice that is going on around. In a society, we have to face these things. It is not that you just ignore everything. No, what do you think? Resist not evil, that is the only highest level people can do it.
I can give you an incident from mother's life. There was a man...
one man, yes. One person, coolie, his wife did not bring food in the correct time. he was beating her. And Holy Mother is usually very calm and quiet. No, she never raised her voice, we know. But she saw it from upstairs from there, that this colony, coolish colony. Immediately, she raised her voice and stopped him. What are you doing? Do you want to kill her or what? Then he became silent and went away. So when you see injustice in front of you, it is not that you should keep quiet. In whatever is possible, we are supposed to do. As long as you know this is right and this is wrong, you have the capacity to discriminate, you cannot keep quiet. When you reach a level that everything is happening by God's will, nothing is in our hands, we see the will of God behind everything, at that stage only, I will not show any reaction. But this reaction should not have any negative effect on me. I should be careful to bring some positive good everywhere. See something happening, I become depressed, I become broken down. That is not the thing. In that, I think the time is over, I think, no? We are supposed to leave.
5 minutes.
Oh, acha. Is it okay? Did you follow? Okay.
See, you can effectively make changes in the world only if you become an impactful person. So, self-knowledge, self-development, you can't put this aside. To make a change in the world, you must be very powerful. So, definitely stand up to any kind of injustice you feel about. But develop yourself in such a way that your words will matter, that whatever you say will make the essential change. That is very important. Otherwise, people even break down when they are trying to make changes. Doesn't that happen? You feel so hurt about the incident, you just break down, and then you are not able to deliver that power which is required for that situation. That is why we insist on spiritual development first and foremost.
Namaste, Mataji. Thank you so much for this. You mentioned about not storing things in the mind and trying to keep that. That's an excellent strategy. Thank you for that. While we can try and practice moving forward, is there any practical tip to do a system purge kind of a thing? How do we?
Yes.
Suppression may not help, so please.
No, it's not about suppressing. The idea is to generate the empty mind, which means to freshen up the mind every day, just like how you have the renew button on your phone and for everything, all your electronic gadgets. Just like that, how do you renew the mind? How do you refresh it from time to time? It is only by emptying it of content. Daily, as a spiritual practice, if you can practice emptying mind, which means freeing it from vrittis, thoughts, even if it's for a few microseconds, it is so refreshing. It is like Ganga Snan, I'm telling you. You feel so rejuvenated after that because all the trash has been put into the trash bin and you cleared that also. And you get an empty mind. You got so much, your mind requires space to breathe. If there's too much clutter, how will it breathe? So, on a daily basis, refresh the mind, like press the refresh button, which means clean the mind. The whole of spiritual practice is nothing but purifying the mind. Because your bondage is only in your mind and your freedom also is in your mind. The whole problem is with the mind. So, as a practice, you can try to empty mind every day. Take the aid of Japam, take the aid of, because you replace all other thoughts with the mantra, or you replace all other bhavs with the thought of the divine, and naturally the mind will reach a point of complete emptiness, which means full awareness. Empty of thought, of vritti, but full of awareness. That's a magical state. That's how you renew the mind. Yes.
Ramadaji, this is related to the questions of emptiness of mind. Isn't it subtle difference between emptiness and vacuum, the way I understand vacuum from physics? The reason I said this is that if I have ideas, intense thought, intense ideas, that must reside somewhere.
Yes.
And vacuum cannot be there in the whole.
Yes. So it can reside in the cosmic mind. See, your mind is part of the cosmic mind. But there's a kind of a dividing line which makes you an individual, which is presumed. It is not actually there. But I want to function as an individual, so I bracket my mind, as it were. So then you can leave your thoughts in the cosmic mind and step into an empty mind whenever you wish. Just increase the level of awareness in your mind and remove thought, and you will achieve the empty mind.
So that your individual mind is a sub part of the whole.
It is a part of the cosmic.
And so all your ideas and thoughts will be in that sphere. It is not vacuum.
So from the bhakta standpoint, you say you surrendered everything to God. So you do that, you will achieve the empty mind. I think the time is up. We leave at 12:25. We have to go urgently somewhere.
There will be one last question. I did hear a lot of respect for you. I think from the when you try to establish the intellect, my question is simple. How to increase the duration of the restorative sleep or sushupti? They are not simple as well. Meditation is practiced.
Yes,
What
that's
was
true.
the question? Okay.
How do you increase the duration of sushupti? Because many people, that's a huge problem. You know, in people who suffer from insomnia, they really require restorative sleep. So if you, in the conscious state of mind, if you handle your thoughts properly, you will have a really restful period of sleep every night. When there's too much negativity in the mind, then achieving sushupti is a big problem. See, our goal is not even sushupti, it's puya. But at least sushupti state you require every day to refresh the mind. So for that, handle your conscious thought process very well, very positively, very maturely, and you get a good night's sleep. I can assure you about that. So shall we end here? Yes. Thank you very much.